last is recreation.
Recreation.
Hello again. Okay. I am going to muddle through this and do the best that I can. This budget was prepared by Stacy before she left. I've taken it on as my own, and I'm doing my best to make sense of it. So here we go. The Recreation, Parks and Recreation Division encompasses the administration section of Parks and Rec, Parks and Rec maintenance. May I have you?
I'm not opening your detail just in case
Okay. Outdoor Parks and Recreation, the dog park, RV park, pickleball, tennis, DeSoto Marina, the Coronado Community Center, the library, the fitness center, the Ponce de Leon Center Woodlands, which is where we are today, and the outdoor pool. So it's a large division with lots of moving parts, and so there are many different cost centers, which I won't go into in detail, but we'll talk about the overview of this. So in revenue, you will see that we are slightly less than the 2020 budget, but slightly more than the 2020 forecast. And that is because while we are being conservative in terms of revenue because of COVID, we do not anticipate a complete shutdown as we had in early part of 2020. So we're cautiously optimistic. Is that fair?
phase 2 in it.
Or phase 2 COVID budgeting for 2021. The compensation also is slightly less than the 2020 budget, and that is due to a number of things, but it's impressive, and I will say that because this division also was hit unusually hard by the minimum wage increase. Many of our employees are at that level. The expenses are slightly less than 2020 budget, even with the allocations coming into the division that were not there in the past. So the building maintenance allocations, the software allocations, the fuel and oil allocations that are being put in these divisions now. And in capital, really the main item in capital, there's not a lot, we've pushed most of that out a year or so, but we do have $120,000 in there now for the pickleball maintenance and resurfacing. So that's in the 2020 capital budget, or I'm sorry, 2021, it's 2020. And then the only other maybe interesting thing to note there is that we did move the Parks and Recreation Maintenance group that were reporting to Jason Temple in Public Works. We've moved them back from Public Works into Parks and Rec. Really 95% of everything that they do is all Parks and Recreation related, and so it made sense for them to report directly to this division. That was real fast, but I will answer any questions that you have. There's really not a lot, and we're going to talk about fees in a minute. So there are some interesting things to talk about in terms of recreational fees and increases and bundling and some new things there, but this is the highlight of the.
Lloyd, just to explain, the pickleball, we wanted to have it there in case whatever we decide to do, we wanted to make sure.
Right, yeah, no,
So we got some other interesting stuff about that we'll talk about later.
okay.
Well, and since I can see this may be a ridiculous question, but it seems like a reduction of 29 employees overall, full and part-time, and yet it looks as though compensation is about $1 million more. All of that is minimum wage increase?
You know, I'm honestly gonna let Karina speak to that. She's probably much more
Makes perfect sense.
well versed in that. But again, this is budgeted, not actual.
Your compensation is actually less. So 2021, we're projecting 1.6. 2020 budget was 1.9. And that is encompassing the minimum wage increases. There are some positions down. Now, I will say, that, like I said, this was, the 74 is from October of 2018, from when the budget got approved, so that doesn't account for changes that have occurred over the last 13 months. This does include some of the seasonal help for like the pool and so forth. So
And a little bit of that is likely my math. The forecast, it's not $1 million, it's 100,000. That kind of, that zero is a
Helps.
big deal. My apologies.
It also doesn't include vacancies, right? Vacant positions are not.
we did put in
Are they back?
the vacancies. Now, that doesn't mean we hadn't missed one or two, but I think we've got all the, put in there with for the number.
For the count, okay.
Thanks, sorry.
Okay.
Anything else? No? Okay. Stevie.
That wraps up all of our divisions. Do you guys have any questions that we can help answer in any of those areas before we jump into the fees?
I don't think so. I think we answered or asked them as we went through, so I think
Okay.
we're good.
So let me close this. And here's our fees. Let me see if I can make this as big as,
One more time.
well, can you guys see that? I know you guys gotta have,
One
It's
more,
when-
can you blow it up one more time?
I can, you just won't get
That's a
any
little
of
bit,
the.
there you go.
There, okay.
That's good.
So I left 19 on here. We've got 2020 as well, so here's the proposed. Obviously, our CPI increase is the 0.3%, which is where our assessment changes come from. I'm gonna kind of go through this and then I'll let the rest of them take their part. So we've got no change, I did forget to put the comment, but no change in all this stuff.
Yeah.
We are proposing to change the work pass vehicle decal from 15 to 30. Those are our outside people who are not property owners that are getting the decal to work in the village and do all of their stuff. We do have a lot of those sales. I think the fact that with them using our roads and so forth, I think it's a fair price to try to do if you guys agree. With that being said, the work pass annual has also increased by the same amount, from 35 to the 60, because they can get a 1-year pass. Other than that, there are no changes. And then we go into golf. And I'm gonna say no changes, because you didn't have anything, did you, Tom?
Just the handicap.
Yeah, so which is the SGA increase that we've got to pay, so it goes up to what the fee is of 30. So now, here's all your cart stuff, I'll let you come talk.
I think you got the old one there, Sabrina.
How?
Because essentially, there's no increase in those either.
Okay, well, we're gonna take all this out,
There was
ignore
no increase,
this,
no increase.
no increase here. I apologize for the flow.
Okay.
Well, where did it go? Oh, just that
We
one,
went
okay.
through it, yep.
Alright, so then here is recreation. And I'll let Stephanie.
I'm coming up, but I'm going to ask Katrina to join me. So she was involved in all of these discussions with Stacy and the Recreation Committee as it was debated and discussed and all that good stuff. So there are a number of changes. Let me just get some notes. Without speaking to every single one of them, I will say, and so we're starting, where are you starting, tennis or bocce ball? So there's really minor changes in bocce ball, very little, in fact, I think there may be some rounding, but nothing significant there. Lawn bowling, there's sort of a modest increase of about 14%, it looks like, in the property owner annual fee. Was there any justification that you recall, or is it just trying to set fees in accordance with
It was
standards?
really trying to set these in accordance with standards,
Okay.
pick a rounding number.
Okay. I'm not gonna go through every one of these changes, you can see them there. There's a bunch as we go through this. Pickleball, there, again, a minimal to modest fee increase there. The property owner annual goes from 100 to 189, looks like. So like $4.50 on the super senior, about $15 on a couple for annual play at pickleball, et cetera. You can see as that goes on down the road there. Tennis, there is no significant change at all over 2020. In the hourly rate for tennis, there's actually no no change there either. Very few. Like 10 cents on a junior member, I'm not sure why they even did that. It's such a small amount.
Stephanie, are these changes, did they bubble up or work themselves through the recreation committee?
They
So
did.
That's for their,
Yes, in fact, they've got a
I know they did a lot
bunch of
of work.
hours dedicated to this topic in the Recreation Committee. Yeah. The next page talks about a little bit about archery and croquet, and actually the capital expenditure that was recommended in the budget did not make it through staff. So there's no recommendation to build an archery or croquet, so we will be taking
Oh,
those
I'll need
out.
to take these out.
Okay?
Right here.
Yeah. When we get to fitness, there's actually a small increase from 2020, but it's less than what it was in 2019. I think there's been an effort over the last few years to encourage more membership at the fitness center, and a feeling was that we had outpriced ourselves a bit. So to reduce those fees and to eliminate the 15% ACH charge that was attached to when you signed up for draft. Did you see that? Is that what that, okay.
You're definitely recommending that.
They did recommend that, yeah, okay. Again, I wasn't in there during the discussion, but
But you're
that came through
recommending
the
it
Recreation
also
Committee.
within the budget, okay.
Okay. I don't know, since it looks like we might have caught Karina off guard, that one might need to be discussed early, at least looked at it, what our bank charges are, I don't know. So as you keep on going on down through the fitness, you can see that there's not much change in the fitness center daily and 30-day passes.
Stephanie,
Yes,
can I ask a question on the fitness center?
yes.
Did the rec committee do any comparison with other fitness centers in the area to ensure that we're not outstripping?
Yes, sir, they did. We did a pretty comprehensive comparison between the area around Hot Springs, Benton, Bryan, Saline County, even into Little Rock as well, for incomparable centers such as the YMCA in Hot Springs, others as well. There were probably about 10. So that was
Okay.
done and requested and reviewed by the
Thank you.
committee. Yes, sir.
Yay, Katrina, it's a pleasure here.
I think it's the one that you sent me, I incorporated it in, so all the lines through it.
Okay.
Yeah. We might be looking at two different models. Sorry.
Okay, not, but, on into Coronado Community Center, is that where we are? There is really no change there either. It doesn't say no change, but there's no change. Is that what yours is saying? They're continuing on with this quarter hour pricing model to try to encourage people to come in, so if they're not there for a full hour, they're not getting charged for a full hour. Again, the decline in utilization there has been such that the committee was looking at anything they could do to get people back into the center, back into renting those rooms. I don't have the answers.
That's what I get for turning it into a PDF. Ah, there we go.
I have a couple questions about the fitness center.
Sure.
I think one of the experiments in 2020 is probably the world's worst year for an experiment of this type,
Yeah.
was to sell annuals based on the subscription month as opposed to January.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any comments on that? Success, failure, don't know, can't measure it.
And of course, like you said, it is very difficult to make a good apples to apples comparison based on this year
Right.
and all of the changes that we've seen. I do perceive it as a success. We are still seeing, even though it is going on into October, actively people coming in for tours, signing up, and additional memberships based on that rolling 12-month fee. So I do think it's a success. I mean, I think the rec committee too as well felt that way and would hope that it would continue.
Okay, so, from what I'm hearing is that your intention would be to continue it into next year.
That was, yes, that was the take that I had from the rec committee as well, that they would like to continue that.
Okay, the other concern there is the risk of excessive turn it on and turn it off whenever you feel like it. Are you running into that?
In terms of that same rolling fee,
Yeah, yes.
the draft. Of course, right now with with people requesting, changes to their membership due to COVID-19, there's been some of that. We still, though, contractually obligate people to keep their ACH draft for 12 months from the point of membership. So from that take, it's not causing any issue.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I know one of the focuses is to get, to take money when people want to give us money. So when we were only allowing people to sign up for an annual membership early on in the year, we are going to let you do that.
Well, I guess the other assumption is if it is a success to essentially do the same thing for all the other annuals, is that kind of the thought, or is it kind of really,
We are planning to do a rolling annual for all of our amenities other than the golf.
okay,
That's gonna get a little hairier with cutoff dates and stuff in
Sure.
our system with the T sheets and all of that. But everything else that we are looking at putting it on a 12-month rolling,
Are you also looking at letting them combining 3 or 4 things?
yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay, so Coronado Center, Ponce de Leon Center, those do not have any increases. The RV park and the pavilions, no increases there.
Again, on the facilities, am I noting that we're,
These were the quarter hours that
Quarter
she was
hours.
talking about that I was trying to find.
right, but it looks as if we're lowering those dollar amounts, is that what I'm seeing?
It's on
No,
hours.
it's equivalent,
It's what?
it's not lowering.
Because that's only the quarter hour versus what we see in 2019 is for a full hour.
Right.
Okay, we have a usage problem of these types of facilities. Why wouldn't we be doing something to try and increase the usage of those facilities?
So it's an excellent question, and one that I asked as well. So early on, I mean, I think the focus has all been on just how do we either cut expenses or increase fees, with very little thought given to how are we selling and marketing ourselves and getting more people in the door. And that's gonna be one of my primary focuses in 2021, is just that whole aspect of who is using, why are they not using, how can we encourage you? But I don't think it's driven solely by the fee that we're charging. Does that make sense? Not really.
Well, I mean, your comment makes sense, I'm not sure that the
I mean,
logic
what
makes
they were attempting to do here is not reduce the fee for room rental, but to give another option where you're not having to rent for a whole hour. Or if you rent for an hour and a half, you don't have to do 2 hours.
Yeah.
Are you seeing kind of where the thought process was going?
Yeah. I just personally don't agree with it. I mean, we have facilities that are not being utilized, and I think we ought to be promoting the utilization of those facilities.
That's what you said, right?
It
You're gonna be working
is.
on
That's what they're there for.
Yeah,
And
that's what you're.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
need to start filling them up somehow.
100% agree. Yep, couldn't agree more.
I would ask that part of the fee schedule be looked at further.
Not sure the part of the fee schedule, which I don't know how to.
He's saying we should drop prices instead of keeping it stagnant.
Rental rates.
Drop prices. I gotcha, okay, okay.
I think it's more a demand issue, though I don't think it's necessarily the price, just another opinion.
Well, I think right now, with everything going on, it's definitely a demand issue.
Yeah.
I think going forward, if we see that and the parameters get dropped to where we can have bigger events, and people can do the parties, I think we definitely look, if we're sitting empty, we got a problem, let's drop the rates.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the challenges that we've had, and even back to when I was director of recreation several years ago, was that we can't necessarily compete with free. And as low as you go, you still have churches and other facilities that are willing to host groups, meetings, events, things like that. I mean, other than the big ones, right? So other than the bingos and the bebopper dances and the big things that take the big auditorium, many of those smaller group sessions can be held anywhere. And other facilities, other places, like again, churches, even other office facilities are allowing people to come in, and there was just nowhere for us to go really and still retain those customers. They were limited
I think
because it was just
a perfect example is what we just dealt with the one club. I mean, we have a place sitting there empty, what do? Let's make it, let's get them in there and let's drop our fees.
Right.
Makes sense. I think that's the way we're gonna look at it going forward.
Okay.
Can we back it up to, I don't know what page it's on, it says new fees. It's probably the second page.
Yeah, I got it right.
I missed mentioning that, I apologize.
So, and here's also where you took out some of them.
Which page is that?
At the swim, the fitness you took out.
Yeah.
We've made some changes.
And the
Here's your new
fitness.
fees.
Okay,
Less
So-
archery.
right. So again, this was a recommendation out of the Recreation Committee that we create some bundling of amenities and bundling of fees, and thank you for bringing that up a second ago. So you'll notice that there is an annual recreation fee for property owners, which includes bocce ball, dog park, the fitness center, lawn bowling, library, the outdoor pool, pickleball, and tennis for $550. I think the research showed, and Katrina can help me if I'm wrong, is that we don't have a significant number of users that are using multiple amenities, but there are some. And potentially, we would get more if we had a fee, we would get more use out of some of the, if we had a fee that would encourage membership. So that's the reason for that. And then you'll see that we just have it for, if you do it on the ACH or if you do it as a couple. So, same thing.
That is from, that's available when?
Well,
Limited,
2021.
no, the annual recreation fee, limited time only, what, December 1, January 31? So it's only available to,
That was the recommendation, is that be available December 1 through January 31. I don't know when we're talking about rolling fees,
Which
is
one?
that this
The
bundling?
total?
Uh-huh.
Why would we do that?
I don't know, do you guys recall the conversation in the Recreation Committee?
And that was a recommendation by the Recreation Committee
Yes.
specifically, not only for the fee, but to offer it for that limited amount of time.
good.
I think that they wanted to create interest as well as see how it went as kind of, again, a test for what we might be doing in the future. And also, the fee itself, they considered quite a bargain. So again, that was just something that they wanted the board to consider to generate interest for the new fee.
Yeah, as I understand it, that might offer the opportunity for people to try maybe some more things that they might not have if they had to. If you add up all the annual fees to that individuals within that bundle, it's considerably more than that. And here they could get all of that at a reduced price and fill up the attendance a little bit more, and try some different things. And that might even indirectly drive more attendance to the pool next spring, since there has been a little bit of pushback on the pool prices being a little high, so on and so forth. But if you have that, you've opened a door to several options to try. So it's worth a shot, see how it goes.
And again, it was recommendation out of the Recreation Committee, but if we, as a standard, go to this rolling fee thing, it makes sense to roll this one into that as well. Where it's,
Or did they discount it this much
So
just
much.
as a test? So my thought process, and I'm just jumping off a limb here, so please forgive me. But if we did it this way for the month to see how it goes, but if it was after January 31st, it could still be a rolling, but at a different price? Is that kind of what they were thinking?
No, I don't
No?
think so.
Okay,
But the thing is, there's nobody that uses all the amenities.
right.
Okay? And I think they only had 14 people,
yeah, it was a
That-
small, insignificant. number. I
yeah,
knew
that would even fit into this category of this card
I gotcha.
initially off the bat. So, and I don't know, will the work be done to be able to offer this in December? With this being October?
We would get it all set up within our point of sale. As long as this gets approved, we will make any of these changes to our point of sale before annuals go on sale. So yes.
And is there a plan to publicize that? Because
Oh,
It'll-
everything.
It'll go
In a
out in our
major
flyer, the annual packet that you get with your coupons and all of that, and the kind of the brochure we tried to put together this past year to explain what all your amenities were and what was available.
Yeah, but this really needs to be a big bang
This-
out.
This would be,
We'll pull it through our communications
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
because,
Village Eagle asked the recreation section of that too. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that.
and any, yeah, because the way, I may be, not be the norm, but the way we look at that annual thing is, here's last year, here's this year, Steve, chick, chick. And you don't look at a new, I don't look at that detail. And that looks like something that'd be, oh, why not try it and see what those things are? You know, it's kind of fun. So I think publicizing it any way you can would be very beneficial.
And if you use the fitness center, then it's gonna be worth your while. But if you
Yes.
don't use the fitness center,
Probably not.
it's probably not.
But you might get some conversions from
You might.
tomorrow's on the east side over
You
to
might,
that
well,
auditorium.
that's true, you
And
might.
I would be fun.
Okay, should we jump back into or eliminating these swims, the fitness center daily? Just one thing to note in the fitness center that I skipped over, was the fitness center daily swim for property owners. Basically, just if you're not an annual, you can't come in and just opt into a swim, a daily swim. You're either going for the whole thing or not at all. Okay.
So can you buy just the swim for, as a member annually without the whole gym?
No, you cannot. No, it's all one. We don't really have a really great way to track where people are in the building if once they've come in, they have access to everything.
Yeah. So it's gonna be tough. Okay.
I think, so I want to stop at the library. The library is the last section there, and that, and Katrina can help me with the reasoning behind that, but there is a recommendation to go from $9.45 for your property owner library card to $20. So it's a 111% increase. It's a big jump. It doesn't make a giant difference in total revenue for the year because the cost center just doesn't make a lot of money. But, do you have any background on what the thoughts were and?
And again, a recommendation by the Recreation Committee. I think it was in part due to how low the fee is right now. The annual fee for the library to access everything for the entire year is $9.45 per person. You know, there was some comparative analysis done to other libraries in the area, and they just felt the fee needed to be more.
I've always paid $20.
Didn't forget I said anything. Okay.
But no, I mean, I was under the impression that the
Did
fee
you,
was
for you
$20.
and your husband, maybe?
Pardon?
Did you do it for you and your husband, maybe?
No,
No?
it's just me. Huh, okay, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because
We appreciate you doing that.
Yes.
I'm all about libraries, so.
Yeah. But there's only 4 categories of library membership. It's the property owner, the household membership, the non-property owner, and an employee, and all 4 categories went up.
Yeah.
You know, pretty significantly, so.
I think another reason on the library is it's calculated that the average cost per member, it costs to run the library is $44 per year. So bringing it up to 20 would get it a little closer to halfway.
Really, $44 now per person?
Yeah,
There's no.
I believe that's the number.
Wow. They do a great job.
Cards issued.
They do.
That's the cards, each card issued.
I was trying to see it. Okay, I just read it wrong.
It's all on recreation fees. Apologize for the clunkiness of that.
Lake said
All
no
good.
changes. So, this is the next one where we had changes.
Sanitation.
Um,